Persia, the empire that vanished from every map, yet somehow never left the earth. Today we call it Iran, a country most people think they already understand before they arrive. Why do Iranians say no 3 times before accepting a gift? And why do strangers open a dead poet's book to ask him questions about their future? Join us as we cross Iran from its blue mosques to its red islands and discover why this ancient land still surprises everyone who steps into it. Can you guess which square once made a Persian king boast that his capital held half the world within it? That's Naqshi Jahan Square in Isfahan, one of the largest public squares ever built. 2-story arcades wrap its edges, framing polo grounds where Safavid horsemen once played, beneath royal balconies. At one end, the Shah Mosque lifts a turquoise dome that seems to dissolve into the sky above it. Inside, tilework interlocks in blue, yellow, and white, calculated so a single clap. Beneath the dome echoes back 7 times. Across the square, the Sheikh Lotfollah Mosque hides a private prayer hall behind a plain doorway, its dome shifting from cream to rose as the sun moves overhead. Below the city, the COC Pole Bridge crosses the Zayandeh River on 33 arches, its lower arcades filled with tea drinkers, long after the water above has slowed to a trickle. Locals gather there at dusk, voices rising under stone vaults built for exactly that purpose. Nearby, the Grand Bazaar of Isfahan spills out from the square itself. Copper hammered into trays, spice merchants calling out prices that soften the moment a customer actually stops walking. Ask an Isfahani for something, and he may refuse it twice before accepting. This is Tarof, a ritual of polite resistance woven into nearly every Iranian exchange, where saying yes too quickly can seem greedy, and true generosity means insisting, until the other person finally gives in. As lamps flicker on along the river, the reflections of both domes settle quietly across the water. What kind of house needs no electricity to stay cool? In a desert where summer temperatures pass 50 degrees, Yazd built the answer directly into its skyline. Wind catchers, tall clay towers called badgers, rise above nearly every rooftop, funneling desert breeze down into courtyards and underground water channels called qanats. The city itself is built almost entirely from sun-dried mud brick, its narrow lanes designed to throw shade across every step. Yazd has sheltered a Zoroastrian community for centuries, keepers of one of the world's oldest religions. At the Atash Behram Fire Temple, a flame is said to have burned continuously since the 5th century, tended without interruption through empires, invasions, and revolutions. Nearby, the Towers of Silence stand on twin hills outside the city, once used for ancient funerary rites that returned bodies to nature rather than earth or fire. Why would a stranger open a dead poet's book, close their eyes, and ask him for advice? In Shiraz, this happens every single day. The book is the divan of Hafez, and the ritual is called Fale Hafez, where a person poses a question, opens the collection at random, and reads whatever verse appears as their answer. At his tomb, set inside a rose garden beneath a domed pavilion, visitors line up asking about love, work, and the uncertain decisions ahead of them. Shiraz has called itself a city of poets, wine, and gardens for 1,000 years, even through eras when 2 of those 3 were forbidden. At the Nasir al-Mulk Mosque, dawn light passes through stained glass windows and scatters across the prayer hall floor in fractured color. Just outside the city, the ruins of Persepolis still hold. Carved staircases where nations once arrived, bearing tribute to Achaemenid kings, their processions frozen in stone for 25 centuries. Bulls with human faces guard collapsed gateways, even in ruin. The terrace commands the same view its builders intended, watching the desert stretch toward mountains that have not moved since Darius stood on this ground. Can a garden survive for 400 years? Behind nothing more than a plain outer wall in Kashan. It can, and it does. The Finn Garden channels mountain spring water through stone canals into a walled paradise of cypress trees and fountains. Its geometry built on the old Persian idea that a garden should recreate heaven on earth. Kashan itself hides its wealth the same way. Merchant houses here present blank mud brick faces to the street, giving no hint of the painted stucco, mirrored halls, and sunlit courtyards inside. Each spring, the fields outside Kashan turn a deep pink, as damask roses come into bloom for only a few weeks. Families gather before sunrise to pick the petals while they still hold morning dew, then carry them to copper stills where the flowers are slowly distilled into golab, rose water used in cooking, medicine, and religious ritual across the country. The scent settles over entire villages during harvest season. What happens when a desert stops looking like sand and starts looking like a lost city? Southeast of Kerman, the Chalutes of Shahdad answer that question directly. Wind and rare flash floods have carved these clay formations into towers, ridges, and corridors that stretch for kilometers, some rising over 100 meters from the desert floor. Why would a merchant spend 18 months tying a single carpet by hand when a factory loom could finish the same size in days? In Tabriz, the answer is not efficiency, it is inheritance. The Tabriz Historic Bazaar Complex, one of the oldest covered markets in the Middle East, has anchored Silk Road trade for centuries. Inside, master weavers still knot wool and silk by hand, each knot counted rather than measured. A finely woven Persian carpet is often part of a bride's dowry, expected to outlast the marriage itself. Merchants pour tea for browsing customers whether or not a sale ever happens. Hospitality is a matter of course rather than a sales tactic. What kind of village builds its rooftops so that residents can walk straight from one roof onto the street above it? Masuleh, tucked into the forested slopes of Gilan province, is built almost entirely on a hillside too steep. For conventional roads, houses stack directly against one another, terraced so tightly that the roof of one home forms the courtyard, or even the street of the house above it. Mist rolls in most mornings, settling over the ochre-colored buildings until the whole village seems suspended above the clouds. Shopkeepers sell hand-woven wool socks, honey, and dried fruit from stalls built directly into the rooftop streets. By evening, lamplight rises level by level up the hillside, and the fog returns to erase the line between rooftop and road entirely. Can an entire island turn red simply because of the ground beneath it? On Hormuz Island, in the Persian Gulf, the answer is written into the landscape itself. Iron-rich soil here ranges from deep crimson to burnt orange, giving the island its nickname, the Rainbow Island, and its most famous export, a natural red pigment locals call sora. The coastline shifts through violent color at low tide, red soil meeting turquoise water in a divide so sharp it looks digitally altered. Portuguese forces once fortified this island as a trading post, and the ruins of their fortress still stand above the shore. As the tide pulls back each evening, it leaves the shoreline striped red and blue, a boundary that redraws itself every single day. Why does an entire nation set a table with 7 specific objects, all beginning with the same letter, and leave it standing for 13 days? The tradition is Nowruz, the Persian New Year, timed to the exact moment spring begins. Families arrange sprouted wheatgrass, garlic, apples, dried fruit, vinegar, sumac, and coins across a cloth, each item chosen for what it represents: growth, health, patience, renewal. On the 13th day, families leave the city entirely, tossing the sprouted wheatgrass into flowing water to carry away the old year's misfortune. Nowruz predates Iran's current religion by well over 1,000 years, a tradition no dynasty or revolution has ever managed to cancel. And where does a journey across Iran finally return to rest? Tehran, a capital that spent 2 centuries growing beneath the Alborz Mountains, now home to more than 9 million people, and a skyline that keeps climbing toward the peaks behind it. Grand Bazaar still anchors the old city center, much as it did before Tehran became a capital at all. Traffic fills the avenues from dawn until well past midnight. Yet families still climb into the foothills each Friday, filling tea houses above the smog line. While the city spreads out below in hazy grids of light, Tarof follows visitors here, just as it did in Isfahan, taxi drivers waving away fares before finally naming a price. Tehran holds every contradiction the rest of the country carries quietly, ancient and immediate, guarded and generous. Our journey across Iran ends here, beneath mountains that have witnessed the rise and fall of empires. Iran is more than its headlines. It is the scent of rosewater, the artistry of hand-woven carpets, and the quiet strength of a culture that continues to preserve its identity. What remains with us is not just the places we've seen, but the people we've met and the stories they've shared. Thank you for traveling with us. Until the next journey.